At the Galactic Republic military base of Fort Anaxes, Anakin Skywalker, Captain Rex, and Clone Sergeant Hunter are discussing the search for lost clone trooper Echo. Already behind schedule, Anakin asks Rex to cover for him, whilst he talks to his secret wife Padme Amidala. Entering the barracks, Rex stands outside as ordered, and Anakin places a holo-projector on the ground to reveal the figure of Padme. The Senator is in her early stages of pregnancy, something that is unnoticed by the Jedi Knight, and they remark at how their duties have kept them apart. But with Rex unable to hold off the suspicious Obi-Wan, they are forced to abandon their conversation. Going to the planet of Skako Minor, Anakin, Rex and Clone Force 99 find and rescue the lost Echo. But what if Anakin had died on the mission? How would Padme deal with the loss of Anakin and her forthcoming children? What would Palpatine do in response to the demise of his future apprentice? As you are about to find out, the loss of Anakin will shift the landscape of the future. As the D-Wing droids rapidly approach the stasis chamber, Crosshair and Hunter seal the doors to the facility, whilst Tech try to find a way to unplug Echo. With the Decimator fast approaching, Tech is operating at his maximum speed, but he is too late. The Decimator entered the room, and its purple tentacles stretched out to find organic life. Anakin force pushes the Decimator towards the exit and Wat Tambor, but the Techno Union's operator redirects the Decimator, vaporizing all of the room's occupants. With the deaths of Anakin Skywalker and notable clone troopers, Wat Tambor contacts Count Dooku. The Sith apprentice is pleased with the efforts made by the Techno Union and asks them to clear the evidence, knowing that the Jedi would want to investigate. Relaying the news to Lord Sidious, the Sith Lord had not expected this turn of events, but he could use this to his advantage. Ordering Dooku to emit a signal from Skako Minor to lure the Jedi, it was time to advance his plans. Back at Fort Anaxes, Obi-Wan and Master Windu had felt the loss of Anakin in the Force. Obi-Wan is in no condition to go to the battlefield, as all of his Jedi meditation exercises are failing him, leaving Master Windu to report the news to the Council. The Council members are deeply saddened to lose such a general and valuable clones, particularly at such a crucial stage in the war, infuriating Obi-Wan. The Jedi Master was disgusted at the treatment of Anakin as a mere tool in their war effort, but knows he can't express the disgust in front of the Council. Obi-Wan leaves, just as they discuss what to do with the signal emitting from Skako Minor. Going to the barracks, Obi-Wan puts his head in his hands, ashamed of his failings as a teacher. Placing a holo-projector on the floor, he finds Senator Amidala. Padme had heard the news circulating from around Coruscant, but seeing Obi-Wan in such a state was earth-shattering. Placing a hand over her swelling stomach, Obi-Wan knew that these were Anakin's children, and he vowed to do what he could to protect them. Without the knowledge of Echo, and the significant losses suffered, the Jedi have to rethink their plans to retake Anaxes. On their way back to Coruscant, Mace Windu boasts at how he was right that Anakin was not the chosen one, but Obi-Wan was not listening. Rather than going to the Jedi Temple, Obi-Wan goes to Padme's apartment, and after a brief moment to console each other, they have to decide what to do next. Neither are in a good state, and they need some help. Going outside in a speeder, Obi-Wan mindlessly roams the planet of Coruscant, ending up in the industrial sector. Through his tear-stained vision, he sees something familiar. Travelling even faster, he finds a speeder bike, and beside a decaying pipe lay former Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano. Her pulse was barely beating, and Obi-Wan quickly scooped her up. Rushing to the Jedi Temple Halls of Healing, Padme soon joined him, following a difficult Senate meeting, watching as Ahsoka finally wakes up. Ahsoka recalls how she had felt the loss of her former master, and in her shock and pain, she had fallen off of her bike. Going to Padme's apartment, they select Ahsoka to be the protector of Padme and her forthcoming children, which allowed Obi-Wan to go back to his Jedi duties. Sitting down in his customary seat, Obi-Wan watches as Master Windu outlines the plan to take Anaxes from the Separatists, his dislike for Windu growing with each passing moment, which Yoda could sense too. Yoda summons Obi-Wan to his quarters, and the Grand Master advises Obi-Wan to let go of his emotions, sending him on a temporary leave. Obi-Wan bows in gratitude, and departs for Padme's apartment again. Ahsoka and Obi-Wan know that the Council are too busy to deal with the signal from Skako Minor, and they go to investigate for themselves. Leaving in a Jedi gunship, they did not know that they were walking into the trap of Darth Sidious. Ahsoka and Obi-Wan eventually descend through the skies of Skako Minor and land on the misty surface. Getting out of the ship, they had a bad feeling about what was about to happen, as they were soon surrounded by the native politics. Obi-Wan uses his famous negotiation skills and convinces the natives that they were not a threat, but they are disturbed by a rumbling from the hills. Separatist forces quickly surrounded them from every hilltop, led by the clattering frame of General Grievous. Ahsoka makes a move to the ship, but it immediately explodes after a small barrage of droid gunfire. With no choice but to fight, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka make giant leaps over the top of the Separatist forces and use nearby stones to push the droids to awaiting politics. Whilst this tactic worked for a while, they were still being overwhelmed. Obi-Wan uses some of the anger he had been storing since the death of Anakin, flying at Grievous aggressively. The cyborg is taken by surprise and uses two of his blades to block the attack, but Obi-Wan was in no mood for mercy. Flickering between light and dark, he began pushing Grievous to the edge of a cliff face, then force pushed him across the valley, giving him time to recover. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka guided the locals away from the lower ground as they investigated the signal from the nearby tower base. Entering its ruins, a single holo-projector remained, emitting a monotonous pulse. Inspecting the source closer, they have no time to react to it exploding and sending them flying across the landscape. Ahsoka was the first to wake up. Looking for Obi-Wan amongst the wreckage, she saw no sign of the Jedi Master. Going back to the battle, Ahsoka finds an abandoned Separatist ship and flies back to Coruscant. Going straight to the Jedi Temple, Mace Windu blocks her path, stating that the fate of Obi-Wan was a Jedi matter, but the other Jedi allow her in. Ahsoka recounts herself and Obi-Wan attempting to trace the signal from Skako Minor, but that they have been ambushed by Separatist forces. Yoda meditates deep in thought, but is interrupted by the central holo-projector flickering into life. Chancellor Palpatine advises the Jedi to get to the Senate building immediately, as Count Dooku's hologram was present. The Jedi rush over to the Senate building and seat themselves in Palpatine's Senate pod, and find Dooku's hologram dragging the unconscious body of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ahsoka is in shock, but at least he was still alive. Dooku offers to trade Obi-Wan in return for the complete occupation of Skako Minor, and the Jedi have to accept the offer, as Obi-Wan was too valuable to lose. The Jedi Master is deposited in front of the temple steps, and he is not in a good state. He is placed in the capable hands of Jedi healers, and soon brought back to health. Opening his eyes, the Jedi surrounding his bed flinch. Obi-Wan had clearly been exposed to the dark side, his eyes glowing yellow. Jumping out of his bed, he has to be restrained on his way back to the council chamber. The council members look on with concern, as Obi-Wan starts to remember what had happened under the torture of Dooku. He had repeatedly heard the name of Darth Sidious, and the Sith Lord being in control of the Senate, just as he had been told on Geonosis. The council do not have definitive proof, and with the Separatists closing in on Coruscant, they cannot put resources on Obi-Wan's suspicions, especially towards the end of the war. Obi-Wan's eyes light up in fury, as he felt that the council were disregarding what Anakin had sacrificed himself for, and stomped out. Obi-Wan, Ahsoka and Padme convene, and deduce that the council was becoming far too stubborn, and what Obi-Wan had heard needed to be investigated. But they were running out of options for help. Suddenly, R2-D2 wheeled into the room, and it gave Obi-Wan an idea. Having heard about what had happened to ARC Trooper 5s, the Jedi Master decides they should access the Republic database. Going to his cruiser, R2-D2 manages to find one of the last transmissions of Captain Rex, and it tells them to follow the instructions of 5s. Going to the nearby clone barracks, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan gather the Station 501st Legion and the 212th Battalion. After a powerful speech from Obi-Wan, which honoured Anakin and the clones, the troopers line up in a queue to have their chips removed. They now have data to work with, and using the Republic database again, they find contingency orders to kill the Jedi from the Supreme Chancellor. They realise that Dooku had been right. Running to the temple, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan stop in their tracks, as a large shadow covered them in darkness. Looking overhead, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan see the Separatist fleet arriving to their home. Running to the temple, they make their way through the crowds of rushing knights and masters, and to the council tower. Giving the news of their discovery of Palpatine's deception, the council stop in their tracks, having heard the news of the capture of the Supreme Chancellor, With proof of the treachery of Palpatine, the Jedi decide to go straight for Grievous's flagship. Mace Windu and Obi-Wan lead the squadron through the aerial battle, and use their ion cannons to fire at the Invisible Hand, but it fails to make an impression, as the strong defense is held firm, and they would have to do their damage from the inside. Windu and Obi-Wan quickly lose the supporting fighters alongside them, and crash into Grievous's hangar. Going straight for the bridge, they are greeted by the cyborg himself. Obi-Wan had not forgotten about their previous encounter, and went over the top of the Magna Guards to fight Grievous, allowing Master Windu to begin the destruction of the ship. Obi-Wan defended furiously from Grievous, as he got the signal from Windu to leave. The two Jedi Masters run back to the collapsing hangar, and jump back into their ships, leaving Grievous and Dooku, who had been awaiting their arrival, to their deaths. Palpatine, who had also been aboard the ship, had sensed the Jedi were not intending to rescue him, and leapt out of the shattering flagship. Dooku and Grievous's uses had for him come to a premature end. The Sith Lord used his extreme force powers to hang on to the remnants of the ship, tumbling to the surface below. Landing smoothly in the lower levels of Coruscant, he contacts his guard, and they deliver his ship. Palpatine zooms back towards the Senate building, and now the fall of the Jedi would begin. Standing atop of his customary podium, Palpatine declared the Jedi to be traitors to the Republic, as they had made no attempt to save him from the Separatist alliance. The Senate erupts into a crowd of noise, some against the accusations, and some on Palpatine's side. Leaving the building, and going to his office in his speeder, he is suddenly surrounded by a group of Jedi Masters. Palpatine orders his pilot to stop, then uses a force-signing attack to disable all of the speeders around him. The Jedi Masters tumble to the ground, whereas Palpatine lands with grace. Summoning his lightsabers into his hands, he begins to annihilate any Jedi around him, and executes Order 66. Walking into the temple, he expected to see the bodies of Jedi on the floor, and the clone troopers to take over, but the Jedi was standing strong. Turning behind him, the Sith Lord sees himself surrounded by several council members. Mace Windu points his lightsaber at Palpatine, declaring his reign to be over. The Sith Lord leapt backwards onto a higher floor, aiming to isolate the Jedi, but they were tracking his every move. The clone troopers who had removed their chips surround him as well, and Palpatine has to swing his lightsabers in a flurry. The Jedi start to fall, and the foundations of the temple begin to collapse. Luring them outside, Palpatine continues his destruction, projecting bodies of Jedi and clones, scattering them across the area. Obi-Wan, Windu and Yoda have had enough of the carnage, and Obi-Wan uses a little bit of his dark side energy to deal the killing blow. The whole battle hushes into silence, as the exhausted Jedi are carried away by temple healers. Taking a moment to gather his breath, Obi-Wan receives a transmission from Ahsoka, and he rushes away from the chaos. Going to Padme's apartment, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka take Padme through the carnage to a nearby medical facility. Soon joined by Bail Organa, she safely gives birth to Luke and Leia. Leaving the twins with Padme and the droids, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan go back to the scarred landscape of Coruscant. From the wreckage, Ahsoka prizes out several helmets of the 501st Division, and provides makeshift graves, just as Rex would have wanted. Going into the temple, she joins Obi-Wan, whose eyes had returned to their normal colour, and together they go to the council chambers. The council members are seated, and Yoda asks Obi-Wan to take his place as Grand Master of the Order, as he recognised that the Order needed a new direction. Obi-Wan refuses the offer, as he maintains his promise to train Luke and Leia with Ahsoka. The Togruta accepts her invitation back into the Order, but only doing it so she could train Luke and Leia. Leaving the council chamber, and his seat in memory of Anakin, Obi-Wan joins Ahsoka, and they walk into the sunset, and to a new beginning. That is it for What If Anakin Died When Padme Was Pregnant. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, turn on your notification bell, and subscribe to this channel and my other channel What If Films for more What Ifs. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.